Welcome to Bonnie's Beat. I'm your host, Bonnie Squires. We're coming to you from Radnor Studio 21 in beautiful downtown Wayne. We like to share information about cultural events, academia, politics, things that impact your daily life. And today, one of my favorite people is in the studio with us. His name is Alan Jaffe, and he's the Director of Communications for the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society. And he's the guy behind the flower show. Hi, Alan.
Hello, Bonnie. I'm one of the many people behind the flower show.
Yes, how many thousands of volunteers does it take to put on the flower show?
We have something like 3,800 people that participate in the show these days. They're all walks of life and a variety of different responsibilities. Coming on as committee chairs, people that help in the judging processes, that help give out information.
Got to give money.
Lots of wonderful sponsors. Yeah, so we have a great many people who are behind the show and make it all happen.
Well, Drew Becker, Jane Pepper was phenomenal. How many years was Jane? I don't know. How many decades?
28 years, almost 3 decades, leading PHS, yes.
And she did some absolutely remarkable things. And I thought, I feel sorry for Drew Becker. How's he going to follow in Jane's footsteps? And he's made so many innovative changes that have really taken the Philadelphia Flower Show to a new level. Talk about the changes in the dates for this year, which is remarkable.
Well, first of all, the show this year is happening March 2 to 10th. We're actually 9 days long, 1 day longer than usual, so that's one big change this year. We're actually opening on a Saturday. Usually we opened on a Sunday. The city has always wanted us to open for 2 full weekends so that all those out-of-town guests can come in, spend the full weekend in the Philadelphia area.
Pay money for hotels, restaurants,
right, retail shops, all the rest, all the other wonderful attractions in the Philadelphia area. So we decided, let's do it. We moved everything up 1 day. It's some people are still getting used to it, but it's going to be fantastic for the show, for the whole city of Philadelphia and the region.
Now, your prime sponsors for the Philadelphia Flower Show this year are
Subaru.
Subaru.
It's been a very important sponsor for a number of years now. Yes, and now we have Bank of America. They joined us last year, and they're also the official exclusive sponsor of the show.
Bank of America picked up from now. Before that, what bank had been there for?
PNC had been a partnership. It was a partnership with us for, I think it was 20 years.
20 years. Remarkable.
Fantastic partner with the organization, and they still help us in many ways too. But now Subaru and Bank of America are helping in the flower show and in year-round projects for PHS.
Well, good for Woodward. He's the CEO of Bank of America. So good for him for picking up the cudgel,
Yes.
And it's not that PNC has backed out of sponsoring lots of worthy causes. They made that 10-year, $100 million commitment to early education and stuff like that. So,
yes. And they've always been dedicated to greening, many of the same goals that PHS has. So we've always been very proud partners with PNC.
Now, you came to the Philadelphia Horticultural Society. You've had several careers, correct?
I've had a couple of careers. Yeah, I spent almost 30 years in the newspaper industry. I starting out with weekly newspapers and moving to the dailies. I worked at the Inquirer for 8 years before I came to PHS.
And you've been at PHS for how long?
It's a little over 5 years. This will be my 6th flower show.
And they said it wouldn't last. Oh, please.
We're doing okay. Yeah. It's been a very exciting time. It's been a very interesting change of careers.
Now, this year's theme. Let's hold up this gorgeous poster for this year's theme. Is this unbelievable?
The theme is brilliant, and most people know that if you come from Great Britain, it's a term that you use to describe something that's really fantastic, innovative, wonderful. That's the way we think the show is this year. We know that it is. It's all about the beautiful gardens and landscapes of Great Britain, the cutting-edge designs that you find in the city of London, and how it's influenced so much of the world. And there's great designs.
Is Queenie coming to the show?
Well, we've invited the Royals. We haven't gotten anything
Forget
definitive
about Queenie.
yet.
Just
I
bring
don't
me
know if they'll
Kate
make
Middleton.
it. As we get closer to the show, we actually have a little promotional campaign that's going to be going on that we're going to be launching on February 1st at the press conference, and it's called Find the Queen. The Queen is going to be popping up all over the city of Philadelphia in various forms, in two-dimensional cutout forms. You're going to see her popping up in different locations throughout the city. You'll be able to take your picture with the Queen.
Oh, is that clever?
And then
was that your idea?
Well, it was an idea that bubbled up from the communications department. We've got a fantastic social media director named Daniel Moyes, who is directing our Find the Queen campaign.
Find the Queen.
And we'll also have a woman who is going to be walking around, who's going to be remarkably looking like the Queen, who's going to be visiting members of the Philadelphia community for the month of February. She'll be popping up at train stations and
sort of like,
business
where is
locations.
Waldo? It's where is Queenie?
That's sort of the idea. And we're going to be spreading the word, in this kind of, very interesting,
That's
guerrilla
wonderful.
campaign attempt. Yeah.
Now, the Inquirer, I don't like what's going on right now with the Inquirer and the Daily News, because one of my buddies, Dan Gross, just announced he's taking early retirement, and he was the gossip columnist for the city of Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, he was.
So that hurts.
Yeah,
because
it does.
I think February 1st is his last day.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Dan's always been a terrific supporter for the Flower Show and for
sure.
PHS. We love the Inquirer and we love the Daily News. They do fantastic coverage of the region still. The newspaper industry has made a lot of changes in recent decades.
A lot of changes.
But they're still one of the most important sources of information in this area. We know that the internet has blossomed and people get information in many ways.
But you can't cut coupons from the internet. You
That's
only
right.
cut the
You can't.
coupons from the
You can't.
newspaper.
And beyond the coupons, most of our news and information still bubbles up from the newspapers first.
That's true, because when you see the e-zines that I get every morning, what they've done is to pluck articles from the Inquirer and the Daily News, and then they put them online.
Yeah.
But they took them out of the print newspaper.
Yes.
I don't know what's going to happen if I'm a dinosaur. I got to read a newspaper, have to have it in my hands every morning.
Yeah.
It's tough. In addition to, I write for the mainline media news, so it's every week I've got a column. I'm always on deadline for the Mainline Times, Suburban Life.
Yeah.
But and then I also do work for the Philadelphia Record and the online Philadelphia Jewish Voice. But
well, that's the key word, online, and we may not always have that document in our hands that comes from trees, and we like to plant trees at PHS, but you'll always have information coming electronically, online, Philly.com, which has the fantastic resources at the Inquirer and the Daily News as well. And I think that we'll always have the news in one form or another coming that way.
I hope so. I just worry because there are lots of people who have their own personal blogs and their own personal biases, and they think that they're doing a service, but they put out a lot of misinformation also, and that bothers me, because lots of people, and I have lots of friends with many college degrees, if something comes across the internet, they'll forward it to me as if it came down from the mountain. It's true.
Yeah.
And I say, this is nonsense. This is not possible. Where did you get this from?
Yeah.
And people are not suspicious enough when something comes across the internet. That's you have to have a degree of cynicism.
You have to have a certain filter in your own mind, understanding where
Yes.
you're getting the information. A good way to get the information directly is to go to the source, like going to the PHS website, which is phsonline.org, for information about our organization. And for the Flower Show specifically, well, phsonline.org, when you're trying to get information about the many programs that go on at PHS. And for the Flower Show, of course, this is the time for that. You want to visit theflowershow.com, and you can get your information directly about all the fantastic attractions this year, all the great things that are going to happen, the schedules, the exhibitors who are going to be there. You can get it all at our new website. We just launched it. It's totally revamped, very easy to navigate, fantastic visuals, and more information than you've ever been able to get before.
Is there a headshot of you on the flowershow.com?
I don't know, but they can always watch this program to see what I look like.
Okay. Now let's talk about the change in dates, because forever and a day, the press preview, the members, the patrons, big gala, was always the Saturday night before the Sunday opening.
Yeah.
And Drew Becker, I don't know whom he had to club to the ground to get them to agree, but what a brilliant idea to have the gala Friday night.
Yeah.
I guess the press preview will be
Everything is moved up one day.
One day.
We're gonna have a members preview going on Thursday the 28th. So just as people are putting the finishing touches on their exhibits,
wow.
we'll have 50 reporters or so, and I hope that you'll join us, Bonnie, to stroll around the show floor.
Absolutely.
Then Friday is the first preview day for members. That's Friday the 1st. Of March, and then in the evening is the preview party. So it'll be on a Friday night. We're selling lots and lots of tickets to it, and people are adapting very well to the fact that it's not on a Saturday, that it's on a Friday. But many black tie events are held during the week.
Right.
A lot of people are used to, to going on a Friday night or even a Thursday or Wednesday night to these kinds of affairs. So it's going to be a very exciting event. It's going to be a little bit more unusual this year. We like to make changes each year, of course, to keep things interesting. The party will be held entirely on the show floor. So there are certain sections where you can buy a ticket to sit down and have a wonderful dinner, or you can stroll through the entire show while you're eating wonderful hors d'oeuvres and with your signature cocktail in hand and enjoying some of the most beautiful exhibits in the world.
Can you talk about the major, gigantic exhibits when people first enter the convention center?
Yeah.
What will knock their socks off?
Yeah, the entry exhibit is going to be dedicated to the City of London. We're taking some of the iconic images and symbols of London and giving them a very 21st century feel. So when you first when you come through the doors in Hall A, the main exhibition hall, you'll be welcomed by these beautiful palatial gates, very reminiscent of Buckingham Palace, but they'll be covered in a beautiful display of English roses. The scent will be absolutely wonderful. The gates will open up to a beautiful alley of regal birch trees, 20, 30 feet up in the air, lined with flowers below them. And you'll follow that little alley down to our own version of Big Ben. Big Ben will be about 38 feet high, similar to the Eiffel Tower that folks saw at the Springtime in Paris, right? And the four faces of Big Ben are actually going to be projected digitally. They'll be changing all the time. You'll be able to see the time, as you're walking around. But every hour there'll be a light and sound show projected on Big Ben, and it'll be a very fantastic centerpiece for the entire show. So that's the central exhibit that's been designed by Sam and Gary Radin. Sam Lemhenny, of course, is the flower show designer, and Chris Woods, who is newly joined PHS as the director of Meadowbrook Farm. And they all work together on designing this really fantastic opening exhibit.
When you walk into the convention center, you just have to gasp. I don't know, I don't care what year it was or what the theme was, it's just unbelievable. I wanted to ask you, did any one of the exhibitors come up with Sherlock Holmes as a theme?
Well, Sherlock appears in at least one or two of the exhibits.
Oh,
I've been looking through their descriptions, and he comes up in different ways. We've got a lot of famous historical British characters. We've got a Mad Hatter's Tea Party in one of the exhibits.
What about Charles Dickens, my hero?
I'm sure there'll be some references to Dickens there.
Especially since we just finished with his 200th anniversary of the whole year was a celebration. 200th anniversary of Charles Dickens' birth.
I'm sure we'll see some references to Charles Dickens. We're going to see a cricket club.
A Tale of Two Cities. That would have been perfect. Why didn't I think of it?
That's very nice.
I should have done an exhibit.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's not too
London
late.
and Philadelphia.
That's right. We've got a very interesting exhibit being created by Schaefer Designs that's going to be about the legend of Jack the Ripper. So it'll be a little darker view of London. We're also going to be out in the English countryside.
What about
with
Downton
beautiful
Abbey?
arts and crafts.
Is anybody doing Downton Abbey?
I don't think anybody's actually trying to do the Abbey, but a lot of the great royal and formal gardens of England are going to be represented at the show as well. A lot of it, though, is going to be about the more cutting-edge designs. There'll be some very contemporary views of how London now interprets, how you should do a horticultural display. So there's going to be some very, very interesting floral interpretations. We're going to do, the AIFD, is the American Institute of Floral Designers, is doing the crown jewels in flowers.
Wow.
These guys and these men and women from around the country do some of the most amazing exhibits at the flower show every year. They bring in designers from all over the country who create different elements of the exhibit. That should be very exciting as well.
If you're opening a day early, it sounds like it's 2 days early if you're going to have Thursday a
Well,
press preview.
Thursday night is the press preview.
Because usually they only let, you know, the people who are making the displays, they only let them come in, like they start on Sunday and they have like 6 days to do the entire setup. Is that still they can't get in till Sunday?
They're going to start a little bit earlier doing the build-up of the show, the setup, and we're also letting people come in actually even earlier than that. For the first time, we're selling sneak peek tickets. So for $48, you get a ticket to come see the show either on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, while the show is being built that week before. You can roam around the perimeter of the show floor and watch as the exhibits are going up and the flowers are blooming, and you can actually talk to some of the designers as they're working. There'll also be a little area to look over the show floor to see the entire scenery as it's being built. And then you also get a regular flower show ticket to return. So these sneak peek tours, which you can purchase at theflowershow.com, the website. First time we've ever done this. We think it's a fantastic idea for those people that like to see how things go behind the scenes. They'll get the insider's view of what the flower show is like.
I've interviewed on Bonnie's Beat for years different florists, different people who have done major displays there. And then my best friend's niece, Karen Carden, runs the horticulture, the whole program at, I think it's Lincoln Heights. I never remember if it's Lincoln or Northeast High School.
I think you've got that
I
right.
think it's Lincoln.
She's
And they
at
win
Lincoln, yeah.
prizes every year. She does the most remarkable things. Yeah. She did one with the famous children's book author who died this year. I'm drawing a blank. It'll come to me. Anyway, but she always, we always make it a point to go and find her school's display because, and Laura Murray and Harriton always have a display. I mean, the school's Temple University. I started the first Temple University display because I was running the centennial celebration for Peter Leocoris at Temple. And I said, we have to be on display, Yeah. And at that time, Winemakers of Blessed Memory was having a store-wide show with Japanese antique little fountains and bridges and stuff. And I got them to sell me the whole shebang for like $500. And that was the basis for Temple's horticultural program.
Great idea.
They put in this fabulous display and they won prizes. And now I see that every single year, Temple University is one of the many educational institutions that's there, but there are all kinds.
The universities do amazing exhibits. We have, as you say, several high schools that do major exhibits,
right.
and all of them, they concentrate on many of the green elements of our, of the environment. How to create sustainable environments, landscapes, beautiful buildings that also, will make sure that we have a future. They use recycled materials, repurposed objects, and do very, very creative gardens.
Now, years ago, my favorite designer, I do have a favorite, and I can't think of her name right now, she did the Versailles Hall of Mirrors in all flowers, and she held her own personal wedding on the floor.
You're talking about Jamie Rothstein.
Jamie Rothstein.
Yeah.
She comes up with the most creative, brilliant, wonderful ideas, and the colors that she uses, the flowers. I wonder what her theme's going to be.
Well, this year Jamie is not on the show floor, but she's working with us on the garden tee. So one of the great events every year at the show is this opportunity to go and sit in this lovely little decorated room on one of the grand concourse, and to have a little tea. Of course, this fits perfectly with the brilliant theme because everybody loves an English
right?
theme. Yes, Jamie is doing the floral displays in the garden tea room.
Well,
so
then we'll be sure to go and have tea.
It's going to be a very, very elegant space. Yeah, one of the most beautiful displays we'll probably ever have in that room.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But there are so many garden clubs out here on the main line, and they always win prizes. And of course, Dodo Hamilton, she is astonishing.
Yeah.
You look at all the blue ribbons on the different flower pots and the bushes and the amazing orchids and things. and 9 out of 10 times is going to see Mrs. Samuel M.V. Hamilton.
Mrs. Hamilton is one of the great participants in the flower show. And another new element of the flower show, thanks to Mrs. Hamilton this year, is the Hamilton Horticourt. The Horticourt has been something.
The Hamilton Horticourt. I love the alliteration.
The Horticourt's been part of the show for forever, since the very beginning. It's always been about gardeners bringing their best plants and competing against each other, whether it's a beautiful tree or a shrub. One of the topiaries from Mrs. Hamilton's greenhouse.
The many things.
Beautiful cactuses, many different kinds of plants. Mrs. Hamilton this year helped us create a new structure, so it will feel like you're walking into a giant greenhouse when you go to the Horticourt.
Oh, instead of just having, the little platforms.
The displays will be similar, but they'll be much easier to use. We'll be able to shift them around because the plants are changed every few days. The competition continues throughout the week, so every 3 days we're moving new plants in and out. The new shelving and all the new furnishings will make it much easier for that to happen, and it'll have a special LED display so that the flowers are lit much more dramatically. The beautiful colors will come out much better because of Mrs. Hamilton's gift to PHS and the new Horticourt.
Might we ask the size of that gift, or that's confidential?
It was $1 million.
$1 million. Yes. Oh, what I could do with $1 million in my garden.
This was a great use of it. Yeah,
that's phenomenal.
This is sort of the heart of the flower show.
Oh.
It's always been about people coming and bringing in the plants from their backyards or from their windowsills and displaying them. And there are some fantastic species, beautiful examples that come into the display.
Is Drew Becker now engaged to Dodo Hamilton? I mean, for $1 million.
They're good friends.
I bet they're very good friends. Very good friends.
Mrs. Hamilton's always been a great supporter.
Now, tell me about Drew, because he, nobody had ever heard of him before he was named. I mean,
maybe in Philadelphia. Drew has had very high profiles in many other cities. Before he came to us, he was the executive director of the New York Restoration Project. A very important program. It's the program founded by Bette Midler up there to revive gardens and parks and landscapes in New York. So he worked with Bette for several years. Before that, he was in Chicago, where he worked for the office of the mayor and helped bring back much of the beautiful the parks of Chicago, and helped actually work on this green agenda that Chicago is known for internationally now. It's a very important environmental program that they have there. Drew was one of the main authors of that program. So this is a guy with a fantastic track record. Before he came to Philadelphia, he's coming here. He's been here now for a couple of years with fantastic ideas. Besides the changes that he's brought to the flower show, all the things we've talked about, a lot more digital display, a lot more 21st century elements. He
certainly added a lot of technology to the show. Amazing.
Right. And he's brought new programs to PHS, things like the pop-up gardens that we've had
Talk about the
pop-up
gardens. Couple of years. What a brilliant idea.
The pop-ups have been bringing vacant lots in Philadelphia. We've always worked with transforming vacant lots throughout the city. So we decided, besides doing it in North Philadelphia and West Philadelphia and other areas where it was really the most important areas to transform the landscapes and to transform communities, we wanted to take some high-profile sites in Center City, Philadelphia, lots that have been vacant for many years, not necessarily neglected like you would find in some neighborhoods, but the development just hasn't happened there. So we wanted to take them and show you what you can do with a vacant space. So we created in 2011 the first pop-up garden at 20th and Market Street. And we took actually the Temple University exhibit from the flower show, plopped it in the center there. It was a beautiful little exhibit, and built beautiful production beds all around it. So we raised vegetables, which were devoted to the PHS City Harvest program. And we did educational programs there. We had Tai Chi classes in the mornings and yoga classes, children's programs.
That's sort of like this, isn't it?
Yes.
Something like that.
That great exercise, that great outdoor exercise program you see in many cities. Of course, it comes from China. Many people love to do that now. So we created this beautiful open space for the community to gather. The pop-up gardens are temporary installations.
How long is temporary?
About 5 months. We
That's a long
open them around
time.
in June and close them in October. So the length of the sort of the spring, summer, and early fall growing season. We use it to grow vegetables. We use it to bring, we use them as a showcase for all the PHS programs, but also for a place for communities to gather. So we did the first one in 2011, and that one won several awards. It was included at the Venice Biennale in the U.S. exhibition as one of the great spontaneous landscapes created in the U.S.
That is a very big deal.
It was a very
My husband took me to
honor.
Venice a few years ago for my birthday as a surprise during the Venice Film Festival, which also coincides with the Biennale, so we got to go to both. And it was just phenomenal. But that's worldwide attention.
That's correct, yes. So that was the very successful garden
As we
did in
say
2011.
in Italian, Mazel Tov.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a great honor. It was. And then in this past year, we did it again. We did it across from Rittenhouse Square on Walnut Street. Very popular, smaller garden, a little bit more of an intimate space, but room for a huge table. We had a 56-foot table where people could come and eat their lunch, learn about the City Harvest program, learn about other PHS programs.
We have a few minutes left. Talk about Philadelphia Green.
Philadelphia Green, of course, is what the flower show supports. When people buy a ticket to the flower show, they are supporting the year-round work that we do at PHS. So Philadelphia Green is many different kinds of projects that we do, many different efforts. We're talking about the City Harvest program, which raises vegetables for people that don't have access to fresh produce in their neighborhoods.
Michelle Obama would love you for that.
I think that eventually we'll get Michelle to come to one of the gardens. We also do civic landscapes. We design and maintain some of the most beautiful landscapes in the city of Philadelphia, like the Azalea Garden, like Logan Square. We worked on the Rodin Garden. We do the grounds around the Art Museum.
Oh, the Rodin Gardens. I was there for the relaunch of the Rodin Museum and the gala, and the gardens are spectacular.
Yes.
And especially the lily pads, the wading pool in front of the Rodin. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it looks fantastic now, and it's going to look that way, and it's going to get better and better all the time. So that's all part of the Philadelphia Green part of PHS too. But also the Plant 1 Million campaign, the tree campaign. It's a multi-state endeavor.
And kids, you train kids. That's so important that you've got children that now learn about the importance and how to respect the environment and how to protect it.
Right. We have in the education department. We have many programs that reach out to children and adults. We have the Junior Flower Show that goes on each year. We have Green City Teachers, a very important program where we teach the educators to bring the environment into the classroom and to get the kids out into the environment as well. We teach them how to make gardens at their schools. So there's a great many projects that you're talking about with PHS, and these are the things that are supported through your purchase of a ticket for the show.
And also, there's the best shop. I mean, anything you want that has a floral motif on it. And I guess this year, because it also ties into the theme, anything that has the crown jewels or the Big Ben or whatever on it, that'll always be on sale. And now you've moved, I guess it was Drew's idea to move the shop, the Philadelphia Flower Show shop.
What we call the PHS store is still pretty much the same location. It's the center of the show floor.
The center.
Yeah.
So wherever you go, you bump into the shop,
find it,
and the lines are so long.
Well, we have added cash registers. The lines won't be that long. It won't be that hard to purchase.
Oh, good, because
it's a much bigger store really. It also has a lot of the plants from Meadowbrook Farm, PHS Meadowbrook Farm. So you'll be able to buy beautiful plants there as well. Some
and then
beautiful
you've got
souvenirs.
the whole vendors, the whole vendor section where you can buy anything that has to do with garden supplies, with plants, with cut flowers, with potted plants.
We've got 180 different vendors in the marketplace.
180.
Selling all kinds of horticultural products and jewelry and many other things, beautiful art.
And sculpture.
But beyond all that, this year we also have the British Village, which is going to be out in the Grand Hall. When you walk out, past all the way down the concourse, going up towards the Reading Terminal, we've got a lot going on in that part of the convention center as well. So the show covers 10 acres of exhibition space, but we really cover 33 acres in the convention center. So out there, the British Village will have vendors from England and some of the local British vendors who have fantastic British products.
I have to stop you. We could talk forever. Our guest has been Alan Jaffe, and please, you've got to Google theflowershow.com, and we'll see you all at the Flower Show starting March 1st.
Starting March 2nd officially.
March 2nd officially,
Yes.
March 1st for the previews.
March 1st for the preview party.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you very much.